Hi guys, Sonny Wharton here. Just going to give you a quick little run through of my new single Vice, which is at Now Size Records. I thought you might like a bit of an insight into how I made the track and what was involved, so come and check it out. So jumping straight in on the arrangement of the track, you can see pretty much all the elements here that are involved. You can see the lead in this section, then the track kicks in from here, the vocals kick in here, that's this blue box here, and then we get back into the groove and stuff from here. We'll start things off with a bit of a breakdown as to the drums and the groove, because that's how I always start with creating my tracks, is I always start getting my drums together and then working on the bass line from there, and then sort of evolving the track after that. So if we have a look straight away at how I put my drums together, you might see at the start of this whole project arrangement I've got pretty much all the basic elements here in one section. So the drums themselves sound like this. This is the main sort of basis of the track. If we zoom in and have a look at those, you can see all the main elements here. So starting things off, just got a basic kick drum, which I've rolled off a lot of the bottom end on, just so it's kind of acting as more of a top, and that sounds like this. Then add in the clap, standard sort of 909 offbeat hi-hat. That's a pretty standard drum loop really. On the kick, because I rolled the bottom end off that, that's kind of almost adding as a top to the main kick drum, which is here, which is just solid. So I don't know if you can hear that, that's with the extra kick on top. And if I take that little high one off the top as well, you can just hear the basic one. So it almost adds like a little bit like a hi-hat on the top really, just layering those two kicks together. And then where I get a lot of the momentum in the track from is all these little hits here. So as you can see, they're just little tiny hits, but when you put them together, especially with the hat, and a little knock, that's what really drives the track forward. And I mean, that's often what I spend a lot of time putting together, is just little things like that, just to give my tracks a lot of energy. And then on top of that, I've just added a standard loop, a little hi-hat loop, which is kind of like a shaker. Another drum loop, again just high pass. So it's more the percussion at the top end that I wanted. And there's also a ride cymbal in here as well. Just put all those together with the kick drum. And that's fundamentally the basis of the track there. Also got these little snare hits in here that you can see. Where are we on this one? That just kind of skip the track forward at the end of each bar. Really. And then the bass line is actually something I wrote quite a while ago. I was making a sample pack for loop masters, and so I had to put together lots of grooves and lots of bass lines and stuff. So the bass line for this track is straight out of that. Because I'd already bounced it to audio and I'd taken it from the pack, which I think is over a year or so old ago now. I haven't got the original one in this project, so I've just kind of recreated it here for you to see. Take the drums out, and you can And how I make my bass lines is with EXS24. It's a preset called Liverpool Bass. Then I put it through Logic's bass amp on a preset called Dub, which gives it a real sort of bottom end heavy kind of vibe. Run some EQ on that just to take a little bit of the sting off the top end. Side chain to the kick, and then just rolling off a little bit with the Synopsis CBK filter, which I think is now called a creative filter. And that's pretty much how I make a lot of my bass lines, and that is how we did it in this instance as well. So if we get into the actual arrangement of track and how it flows, you can hear pretty obviously the kick there is got the bottom end taken out. I've literally just done that with Logic's EQ and just rolled off the bottom ends to 148, 150 hertz. If I take that off, just to sort of introduce the track, and then when the main kick comes in, it just adds a bit more weight. So. Standard intro to the track, it's not very long, about 30 seconds, and then we get straight into the bass line for the groove. And so this section, it's kind of almost like a tension section where obviously I've filtered out the kick again here. If you look on the master channel, I've actually got a low cut on the whole channel now. This is the whole track itself. Low cut EQ there. And it's gradually taking more and more out the bottom end as the track progresses in that build. The reason for that is just again just sort of add to the tension as it builds, and then when it comes back in, it's got a lot more impact into the groove itself as that EQ then is turned off essentially. Also, while we're there on the master channel, I've also got a space designer for some reverb, which is also built in here in that section as well. You can see here it's just essentially opening out between dry and wet on the reverb itself, and again it shuts off just as the track kicks back in. Also, we've introduced these little vocal stabs. So we've got the top one, which is, yeah, it's just a little stab taken from a vocal, and I've got it panned to the left with a bit crusher on it, and then the second one, that's kind of like a call and response between the two, is panned to the right, and that's quite dry. They've both got a bit of Logic's gold verb on them, not too much. I've just sent it to bus 1 with just a little bit here, just to get them to sit in the mix quite nicely really. Then a real simple snare roll. It's literally just a series of snare hits that filter up and again add to the tension. So if I show you the automation on that, that's just Synopsis TBK filter again, or creative filter I think the new one's called, and that just opens up to let the snare roll come in. And then it's back into the groove. Then we're into obviously the main vocal of the track, which is essentially the hook.
So she gives me good advice. My girl listens and she...
It's just taken from, there's some wicked sample packs out there with some really good vocals on. This is just a little phrase out of that that I've looped and sending a little bit to bus 2 with the tape delay on, just to give it a bit of movement and a bit more character in the mix.
She gives me good advice. My girl listens and she gives me good advice. My girl listens and she gives me good advice. Your girl don't get it till you say it to her twice.
And also during that section on the master channel again, there's just a little bit of reverb that builds as it gets to the end. And same again with taking out the low frequency, just so that again when it comes back in there's more weight and a bit more impact. So that section sounds like this.
Gives me good advice. My girl listens to me. Gives me good advice. My girl listens to me. Gives me good advice. My girl listens to me. Gives me good advice. My girl listens to me. Gives me good advice. My girl listens to me. Gives me good advice. My girl listens to me. Gives me good advice. My girl listens to me. Gives me good advice. My girl listens to me. Gives me good advice. My girl listens to me. Gives me good advice. My girl listens to me. Gives me good advice. My girl listens to me. Gives me good advice. Your girl don't get it till you say it to her twice.
Then this essentially, I guess, is the only last element that we've not really spoke about yet, which is the main sort of effects hit, which is really quite powerful in the club. I put that there mainly just for that impact, I guess, so that when it kicks back in, it really grabs everyone's attention. It's the first point of the track that it comes in, which I think is about 2 minutes 30 into the track. So you've not heard it before, so it will grab your attention when that's blasted through the speakers in a club. What that actually is, I found it in a loop pack, and if I take all the processing off it, it's just a bit of a monotonous, nasty sounding loop really. I'm not sure whether through the microphone on this camera you'll be able to pick up the stereo width or anything, but what I've done then is I've rolled off the bottom end. I have put a sample delay on it, Logic sample delay, and just panned it slightly on the right over by 128, and that's just kind of widened the width of it itself, so that when the kick and the bass and the drums and everything come in, they're kind of sitting in the middle of the mix, and this is panned out to the right and left a little bit more, just so everything's got more space and we don't lose any of that impact. They're not fighting for the same space. And then I've sent that to bus 2 as well, which is the tape delay again, a little bit there. Well, it's the same one that the vocals are on, this one with a bit more of a send, just to give it a bit of a tail and kind of let it sort of sit in the mix for a little bit longer and then die away. So you can hear that delay tail there, which then continues, I think, for about 8 or 16 bars or so as it just fades off. So yeah, that's the main impact of the track.
Your girl don't get it till you say it to her twice.
And then really it's back into the groove, much like you've already heard, all the same elements again. If I just take the automation off. That was vocal stabs. That was the main vocal. So this, I guess, is the main breakdown of the track, with this obviously being just a kind of techie club track really. There's no big breakdown or big crescendo like you get in a more big room style track. This is more about keeping the groove going and still adding elements of tension and again building to a point before kicking back into the groove. So we've added just crowd noise here, which is just taken from Vengeance or something like that, which just is sitting quite low in the mix but sort of adds to that section in a club. I've taken the bottom end out as it kicks into that first sort of break. Yeah. Again, just to sort of differentiate between it being a slamming groove and then kind of easing it up a little bit, just as the vocal and everything comes in. Then that rolls off again, so by the middle of that breakdown you've got the full bottom end again, but obviously there's no kick drum at this point. So as you can see here, the kick's gone when it goes into the break. And just introduce the filtered kick just to sort of add some direction really to this section as it starts to build. With the snare drums opening out on that snare roll. I put a louder crowd noise in this last section just to sort of add to the atmosphere really. And again, we are rolling off the bottom ends quite a lot more than in the other sections as the track builds and builds and builds, and I've done the same with the reverb. I've started to open that out a lot more as well, and again we're just kind of building to that point, I guess, before it all kicks back in.
Don't get it till you say it to it twice.
That's it, back into the groove, back into the main core of the track. That is fundamentally everything that's there really. It's not a hugely complex track. It's something I wrote for the clubs, predominantly and for my sets, and I've enjoyed playing it out a lot. Hopefully you guys have got some insight into the process involved, and it's clearly not too daunting. You can go and get involved yourself and probably make something quite similar fairly easily. So yeah, I hope it's been helpful. If you want to know any more, just hit us up on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram at Sonny Wharton and send us a message on there, and I'll answer any questions you got. Thanks for listening. Enjoy your weekend.
Your girl don't get it till you say it to her twice.